this is a very special broadcast. And of course, we must pray. And prayer we must this very evening and always going forward. And I will pray in the language of heaven because Chukwukika Abiyama is in control of all that we have been doing and will continue to do until Biafra is restored and all the suffering indigenous populations in the damnable zoological republic are set free. Chineke na nke pụrụ ihe niile Chukwukika Abiyama onye na-efewe n'aja aha nsọ ya mma mgbe niile. Onye ọbụla anyị ya na-achị eluigwe n'ụwa na-agba akaebe ịhụnanya gị na ebere gị amara gị na ọmịiko gị ebe ndị gị na-eze ebede ngọzi. Anyị wee na-etoghị agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro. Iwe nye anyị ndụ ala nke dị n'uwe n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-asị na ịja mma niile otu niile dịrị aha nsọ gị. Onye ọbụla anyị aka ike niile na ọ gbadara aka ya. Anyị wee na-akpọku gị na-asị gị na nke ọma anyị ga-ekele gị nke ọjọọ ma anyị kelee gị. Anyị wee na-aja gị mma wee na-eto gị wee na-asọpụrụ gị n'isi ụmụ gị niile bụ ndị ikwu ndị wee eziokwu mgbe a kpọrọ ha ka ha wee chekwaa ala nsọ gị bụ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na ihe n'ikwuru anyị nkwa na o mekataghị ka ndị iro wee were ala nsọ Biafra onye nwe m na Chineke na nke bi n'igwe agbanyeghị atụmatụ ọjọọ niile nke ndị iro ma ndị na-agba mgbọgba ebe niile dị iche iche onye nwe m na Chineke nna ihere bụ nke ndị dị etu a n'ụbọchị nke taa. Anyị wee na-eto gị wee na-asị onye nwe anyị na Chineke nna nke pụrụ m ihe niile onye ọ bụla anyị a na-azọpụta onye ọ bụ naanị ya bụ okwu ya niile bụ ihe na amen. Anyị wee na-asị ezi ebube dị ngọzi na n'ụtụtụ na ịja mma na nsọpụrụ site n'ebighị ebi ma ruo n'ebighị ebi. Ise ise ise.
Welcome, my amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. Please go to the comment section at all times. Leave your comment. Say it the way you feel it. Add your own opinion. You can be able to say anything you want to say. You can equally criticize if you so desire, but criticize constructively so that we can learn from each other. That is what to do. Nobody knows it all. We are all learning and we are putting our heads together to find a solution to the problem that is about to consume everybody. Every indigenous tribe in the country of Nigeria is not finding it funny. It's not finding it funny. They have brought death. Remember, our late brother, Obodaya Melafia, may his soul rest in peace, said it that they are coming after the popular men. They are coming after the elites. And that is what they have activated. A lot of people are going to die. What are you doing to protect yourself? What are you doing to stay safe? That is the question. Some people are still going about their business as if nothing is happening. Some are still playing the script of the one Nigeria. Nigeria have ended long ago. It is obvious from every statistics, even in the international world, that Nigeria is a failed state. Go and check out the meaning of a failed state. You will see all the symbols, all the symptoms of a failed state. In Nigeria, Nigeria is a failed state. So for those of you who are talking about one Nigeria, you are only digging your grave and bringing your death closer to yourself. The earlier you begin to ask for this integration and begin to ask for freedom from this very evil contraption, the earlier, the better for you. That is the only way to save life. There is no other solution than that. Nigeria have ended long ago. After 61 years, they are still talking about things that are irrelevant. People who are talking about the 2023 election, you have seen. The only thing we hear about people who rule that evil contraption is tribe. Either Igbo, either Yoruba, either Hausa. This is the only way they are concerned. They are not concerned about the quality of the leadership. They are not concerned about the qualification of that person. This is why the Fulanis have destroyed the contraption called Nigeria. Because as long as you know, every Fulani man that have come in power to rule that country has nothing to offer. It has always been using the Southerners as second. And the Southerners will be doing the work while they be taking the glory. But it's so shameful that Southerners can decide to take a second position instead of being the first that they are supposed to be. Being the first that God have made them to be. Being the first that they deserve to be out of their hard work. The Southerners struggle so hard to go and acquire education. After acquiring education, coming into the political circle to offer their own beats, they will go and be playing second fiddle. What a shame. Even in the northern part of Nigeria, the educated one who has something to offer are still playing second fiddle. Only illiterate and the wicked ones are the ones in charge of the control of Nigeria. That is why it will never work. Nigeria is dead and buried. It's dead and buried. It's dead and buried. There is nothing to offer. After 61 years, you cannot hit your chest and be talking about how to provide a president that can be able to represent a sensible nation. This is why the Biafrans are calling out, and we must go. It doesn't matter the propaganda you push out there. It doesn't matter who you bring. Go and bring our closest brother and make him president. We will continue to agitate and ask for out of this very contraption, because the foundation is faulty. And when the foundation is faulty, there is nothing any human being can do. When you build on a faulty foundation, it must fall. The trap they are setting is to bring anybody that is going to come to that very presidency from the south is a trap. It's a trap. It doesn't matter how you try to make it succeed. You can never succeed. You can't succeed. You think that Jonathan wasn't trying to make the country succeed? You think Jonathan wasn't having a good intention? Jonathan has a good intention. He knew what he was trying to do. Even when he was trying to paint and make sure that he carried these people along, which was the mistake Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe made. Carrying people along. The mistake of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe carrying people along, that was what Jonathan did also. That same mistake, carrying them along. In the process, they dumped him, stoned him, and burned his campaign cars. The same thing will happen. The only thing that will bring an end to this very evil contraption and the destruction is what? Disintegration. Go your separate ways, and that is it. Go your separate ways. And when you see the northern elites talking as if they are not talking for your own sake, they are not talking to favor you, they still have that their innermost plan on their own side. That is where, even when they are making the bad example, they first of all mention the south before they mention the north. Listen to Sanusi, what he had to say, the former emir of Kano.
First of all, we have a constitution, and I think that if we think that there are things that are necessary for the stability of this country, we should put them in the constitution. I mean, there are constitutions in the world that provide for rotational presidency. And if you want to do that, you can do that in a constitution. But I personally, and if you go back to my writings, even it's been published in my book, for example, it's from 1998, I have always objected to this idea that we should focus on where the president comes from. So you've got southern governors saying we want the presidency in the south, and some northern governors saying they want it in the north. But have you noticed that nobody has given the name of who they want? Who? I mean, give us the names. Who are the southern candidates? Who are the northern candidates? Why are people concealing? I mean, there are some people who want to be president, either from the north or from the south, but who want to start by, first of all, having it zoned. Come out, first of all, and show us your faces. Who are the people who want to be the president of Nigeria? And let us choose. Okay? So, and this goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, that this whole thing is about maneuvering ethnic sentiment, maneuvering regional sentiment, basically to corner the presidency to one part of the country, and then the big masquerades who are behind it now begin to come out. And this is why at the end of the exercise, you end up as Nigeria being presented with two equally useless candidates, okay, or candidates that, you know, you have a choice between candidates and you know that none of them, okay, can do. Let us have the names. Those who want to be the president of Nigeria, show your face, whether you're from the north or the south.
This is one of the trickish men you have in Nigeria. Look at him. Whenever he speaks so eloquently, you think he's coming to your favor. He is not talking for your favor. He is still fighting for the favor of the Fulani Janjaweeds. He is still speaking to favor the Fulani Janjaweeds. And none of them is speaking to favor anybody. They are speaking for themselves. This is their trick. Sometimes you see them come with sweet words. You can make sense in what they're saying. There are senses in what they're saying. But inside, when they go to the inner caucus meeting, they are standing on the same shoulder on one thing. Nigeria as it stands today cannot survive. It cannot, so it is dead already. Anybody who is trying to revive a dead animal, something that is dead already and gone, how can you revive it? It is impossible to revive it. The only solution is a breakup. Recently, I stumbled on one of the interviews that were granted to one of the Biafrans, Professor Kingsley Moalo, who is also aspiring to be a president in Nigeria, in the so-called one Nigeria, in 2023. I stumbled in one of the interviews that was granted to him. Let me tell you, sincerely speaking, Kingsley Moghalu is intelligent. He has what it takes. But can he succeed in the one Nigeria? Never. If Kingsley Moghalu happens to become the president of Nigeria, he will look more stupid than he is already now. He will look very, very stupid. When he comes with his rhetoric, you can see he is intelligent, he has the IQ, he has all the solutions to the problem. But put them in practice. Where are you going to do that? In one Nigeria, it can never work. It surprises me why these people cannot fight for Biafra. Why these brains cannot fight for Biafra so that they can make Biafra work. How I wish we can have Biafra so that Kingsley Moghalu can implement these very ideas he has in Biafra. Because it's obvious, there is nothing on the planet Earth that will allow him to implement this very thing that he's speaking on this very interview. He can never be allowed. And he doesn't want to realize that. That's the funniest thing. He is still playing to the script of 2023. Knowing fully well that there is no space for him anywhere in that part of the country. There is no space. As long as Nigeria remains what it is, there is no space for him. More especially when they see how intelligent he is. When they see how bold he is, nobody will ever allow Kingsley Moghalu to be in Asorock. Get that into your head, Kingsley. If you get this video, get that into your head. They will never ever allow you. With all your intelligence, with all your bravery, with all your ideas, with all your qualification, they will not allow you to smell Asorock. This is what Nigeria is. And you can't change it. Why don't you ask for a nation where you can be able to implement all these masterclass ideas that you have? Why don't you look for such kind of idea? Watch this very interview that was granted to Kingsley Moghalu. Watch it carefully from beginning to the end. Listen to him. He made a lot of sense, but not in Nigeria. Let us watch.
What is your candid take on Nigeria after 61 years of independence? What's your take?
Well, my take is quite it's quite clear. It's very obvious that Nigeria has failed to live up to its promise 61 years ago, when we were at par with countries like Malaysia, Singapore, and you know, a few other countries. We were ahead of Thailand, but today many of those countries have gone way beyond where Nigeria is, and Nigeria is not even playing catch up. There was a projection in 1960 that Nigeria could grow to be like Japan and possibly overtake Japan. That sounds like a fairy tale today from what we know. So Nigeria has failed to live up to its promise. It's a huge disappointment to millions of its citizens because of problems of leadership, problems of absence of real sense of nationhood, you know, no unity. So it's a physical place, but it's not a nation in spirit, because we don't have a unified vision of where we're going and how we want to get there. You know, to use a delicate word, or to use a sophisticated word, which is called a worldview. There is no national worldview, because we haven't had in recent years the kinds of leaders that can frame such a worldview and, you know, manufacture consensus among Nigerians about the things that unite us. And instead, we focus a lot on the things that divide us. And it's not just that we are suffering from very basic dysfunctions, like, you know, security problems. Your life is, you know, the lives of most Nigerians today is cheaper than the naira to the dollar. Nigeria today is so-called poverty capital of the world. You know, we have democracy, but it's just all about rigging of elections. You know, so, and terrorism besets the land. So it's not a good story. Let us be honest with ourselves. I don't want to come here to say that I'm happy. No, I am unhappy. And I think it's unhappy independence anniversary for Nigeria. For me, at 61 years of age, I had great expectations for my country, but unfortunately, and of my country, but unfortunately, Nigeria has not lived up to it. And I'm trying to do something about it. I hope that many other people, millions of citizens, also do something about it. We should not just agonize, we should organize. Because like I said in a tweet I put out, I hope that, you know, at the end of the day, Nigerian citizens will take the Ballon d'Or. The Ballon d'Or, the football prize. And I was wondering, it's not yet halftime in the life of a nation, but 61 years is not 61 days and it's not 61 weeks. Many Asian countries have taken, in that period, become global economic powers. And I think it's just sad that we are where we are, divided, poor, frustrated, and seemingly unable to take ourselves out of the hole in which we've dug ourselves. But I believe that there is still hope for Nigeria. But you see, hope is not a strategy. The citizens of Nigeria must take certain actions for Nigeria's promise to be fulfilled. And there's no other way out than to elect the kind of leadership that has the vision, the capacity, and the competence to take Nigeria into the 21st century. There's no way out. When we spend all our time just playing politics, but we're not focused on governance, we worship our politicians. And we confuse ourselves by thinking that politics and governance are the same thing. So we're all politics, but no governance. And that's why the quality of life in Nigeria is very, very poor indeed. So in our next elections, Nigerians should be focused on who at every level can give us better governance, not just those who have the money or those who are big politicians. That's why we are where we are. So today in Nigeria, you find a certain worldview. How are you, my brother? And the guy says, I'm surviving. Now, this is not a worldview that can take you anywhere. So we lack ambition. And it seems as if Nigeria exists simply for the sake of existence. A country doesn't exist just to exist. A country exists to make life better for its citizens. You see, for the citizens in that country to work together to create success for all themselves. That's what we don't have in Nigeria. So people have this worldview of, oh, I'm surviving, or this worldview of, oh, my ethnic group, my religion, because no leader has come up to create a unifying worldview that can take Nigeria, into becoming like Malaysia or becoming like Israel or becoming like the United Arab Emirates, these kinds of countries, So that's my point. There are worldviews, but they are small views. They're not really worldviews. They're very small-minded, narrow, parochial views.
Sure, but how do you drive that main narrative? How do you then drive that main worldview in order to overtake all those minuscule worldviews?
That is the responsibility of the leader. You see, that is why, for example, in our system, you elect a president or a prime minister in another kind of system. There is no country in the world in which the worldview of that country that makes it successful is shaped by the citizens, without being driven by leadership. This is part of what leadership is about. The leader must have a vision. Where are you taking this country to? Trust me, we will get there. A leader takes you to where he thinks you need to be, not necessarily where you think you want to be. You see what I'm saying? Yes, so we all want certain things, but they're not necessarily what we need. So I believe that it is very possible to unite Nigeria, to make it an economic success, the right kind of leader with the capacity. This thing comes from inside. You can't fake it. If you've been stealing government funds for 20 years as a politician and dancing on the podium and rigging elections, you cannot bring a worldview that can transform Nigeria. And that's the point. Do we want transformation? Or do we want to continue to live hand to mouth and just very low level of existence, surviving instead of thriving?
That is very, very interesting. Now, the next question then will be, having, listened to you say this, and I look back since 61 years ago, or rather recently, does it mean that we do not have men of deep and great thinking who can, engage in this, I can call it a social construct.
Social reengineering.
Who does it mean that we lack that capacity to have men who can identify the things you basically said here, who can engage and make these things happen?
No,
What is the issue?
we don't lack men and women who can do this. The problem is that we as citizens allowed the wrong kinds of people to capture the state. That's the problem. And once they've captured the state, it's very difficult for them to let it go, except the citizens themselves also rise up democratically and remove them through the ballot box, since we're trying to be a democracy. So this is the problem. We have the capacity, we have the people, but no country can become more prosperous or more progressive than the competence or the incompetence of its highest elected political leadership. That is what drives a nation. You know, the speed of the leader is the speed of the gang. If the leader is the wrong kind of person, the people who follow will operate at that wavelength. If the leader is transformational, if the leader is visionary, everybody around him rises to the level of the leader, because the leader pulls them up, because that's his or her job as a leader. That's the problem. So we have to get the right kind of people into political power so that we can re-engineer Nigerian society and the Nigerian economy and our national cohesion and our national security. If, for example, you believe that if you are an ethnic supremacist and the reason you're seeking political power is so that you or your ethnic group, you believe you have an entitlement to political power, the reason you're seeking political power is wrong. You're not seeking it to transform anybody's life. You're seeking it so that you can be comfortable on state resources, you and your friends and your cabals. No country can develop, and that's the situation in Nigeria today. No country can develop like that. You've got to have selfless people, because leadership must include, especially if it is to be transformative, it must be sacrificial. There must be the ability to make a sacrifice. You know, what we call self-abnegation. You know, giving up opportunities to serve your own interest, and rather focus on the interest of the people. Somebody, a friend of mine from Germany, I had a conversation with him on the phone the other day, and he gave me an education on the German political system. He told me that Angela Merkel, who is stepping down and is one of the longest serving chancellors of Germany,
Yes.
if she continues until December, she will be the longest. She lives in a
After
small
Helmut
apartment.
Kohl.
Yeah, she lives in a small apartment in Berlin.
Yes.
And there's just one solitary policeman that, you know, moves around the block. She never mixes her private with the public. Never. She is so disciplined, and there's no mess. If you're around her, you simply cannot mess up. She has never invited anyone to her apartment. So this is the sort of leadership. This is somebody who's focused, and she's a woman. So, and he explained to me how in the political system, just 1 second. Yeah, how in the political system, the government finances the parties, so that this is just to avoid state capture. If you don't do that, if people are campaigning on their personal resources, the person who has the opportunity to corner the resources of the state, many people do not have the self-discipline to forego that temptation.
Yes. In Nigeria, we call it having the war chest.
Exactly, having the war chest. And so you find the democratic environment is skewed, and it's skewed against the people themselves. Unfortunately, the people themselves celebrate this because they're not yet politically educated enough.
But it didn't start today. It didn't start today. If you remember,
it's a long story.
Yeah, you know, even during the time of Zik and Awolowo, you know,
Yes.
Recent documentation shows that one of the reasons why Zik actually discarded the margin with Awolowo then to form a government was because of what the British had on him on the ADB, I think. So it's
African Continental Bank, ACB.
Yeah, ACB, sorry. So when you look at it, you find out it's not something, because obviously some monies were commingled somewhat,
Yes.
to finance party.
Yes.
So it's been there. But
Yes,
the question is, how do we get the critical mass to be aware of this in order to walk away? Because again, if that doesn't happen, there is no hope.
Yes.
people must walk away from it
Yes.
in order to own it.
Yes. People can walk away because if the people themselves are tired and fed up of their condition.
But are Nigerians really tired? I think
That's the
Nigerians are
question.
complaining without being tired.
Exactly. That's the $1,000,000 question. You know, you are agonizing, but you're not organizing.
Taking action, exactly.
You're not taking action. You know, so if you don't take action, your condition will never change. So I'm not I am taking action. I'm not happy with what's happening. And I've offered myself to serve my country. That's a sacrifice, and we're doing it, you know, because it comes from my heart, you know. But a lot of people will suffer in silence. So this surrender of agency, as I call it, this loss of power, disempowerment, you know, we disempower ourselves. Oh, they will not let him get it. Oh, they are so powerful. Oh, they have the structure. But you are the structure. But you cannot turn yourself into that structure. No, you're busy waiting for somebody to come and spoon feed you. You know, it shows that you're not as serious about your welfare as you should be. You know, so this is a big problem. So it's not just a leadership problem. The followers and the citizens also have an issue. And, you know, this goes into a lot of theories about race and racism. You know, I believe that the transatlantic slavery, you know, of 500 years ago broke the spirit of Black people. I believe so. And that is why in many places you find them, they're simply not able to develop this worldview to transform themselves. And that slavery was then followed by colonialism, which made it even worse, you know? So this is it. Just hold on one second, please. I'm doing a lot of things while I'm talking to you.
Yes, I appreciate that. Okay, so viewers, before I bring back Professor Kinsley Mogalude, who I've been speaking to, it's been it's a one-on-one, or basically, it's a conversation with him regarding the Nigeria's at 61 series that we have had all along. Previously, I've had a conversation with Dr. Philip Dewo, who is also...
Just hold on one second. Please just hold on one second. So sorry. I apologize.
Yes, it's fine. So I think he will be back, and we will continue that conversation. Now, people, if you have any question you think you may wish to send to him, and if your question is within what we are talking about, yes, obviously I will take that question. Please, let's stay on topic. Again, I think he's back. Let me bring him back again. Professor, thank you for being with me once more. Now,
sure.
Obviously you've talked about this, but knowing that we have not much time now, can I quickly move on? And recently, Nigeria launched the e-Naira, and someone obviously was trying to explain that to me. And I know many people watching today will think it's a cryptocurrency. I know you are against cryptocurrency, but I can tell you.
I am not against cryptocurrency, no.
Okay, so you're not, but you don't hold any Bitcoin, do you?
No, I don't. I don't.
I hold some.
Oh, that's very good. I think that's very nice. You're very innovative.
So I hold a couple of this. But anyway, so having said that, the e-Naira thing, now for someone who thinks this is obviously a cryptocurrency, some call it MMM. That's one of the things I did call it when I understood nothing about it. So yes. How do you explain that to the individual, what that's all about?
Well, you see, the e-Naira is a response to cryptocurrency and the controversy of cryptocurrency. It's not new to Nigeria. In Nigeria, it's not just Nigeria. In many countries around the world, central banks are very distrustful of cryptocurrencies because they don't go through the central banking system. They are not fiat money. And so the governments cannot control it. So naturally, what many central banks are trying to do is to create digital currencies that people can also use if they're dissatisfied for whatever reason with using paper money or just electronic transfers and things like that. So it's an attempt to wean people off crypto, which is speculative, and nobody knows what its real underlying value is other than human psychology, You see what I'm saying? But your fiat currency is backed by the full faith and credit of the government. So this is what the e-naira is about. But here's the problem. The reason many young people do crypto transactions or investments in Nigeria is for stability, because the naira has fundamental problems. It's suffering from a lot of devaluations. It's suffering from a lot of inflation. And so young people feel, many of whom have no jobs, and they found an innovative way of creating some wealth for themselves through some investments and in a digital world. So this is why I'm not against cryptocurrency. And I think it should be managed properly and the risks should be contained. But I don't believe in banning it or no, because let me tell you that when paper currency was created in the 11th century in China, under the Yuan dynasty, it was the first paper currency in the world. That was a massive innovation. And I can imagine the way people would have been looking at paper notes 1,000 years ago. It's just the same way that many of us look at cryptocurrency today. What is that? Which one is this one again? But it gained currency. And that's why the Chinese currency is called the yuan, because it was founded under the Yuan dynasty, So it's crypto is part of the continuing spirit of innovation in the world. And we have to find a way to adapt to it, manage it, control it, protect our national interest. Yes, I understand. And that's part of why you have this e-naira. But the problem is that you still have the underlying problem.
So that's the next question. That's the next question I'm going to ask, because that e-naira is still benchmarked against naira as fiat currency, isn't it?
Exactly, it is.
So why would I? Okay, let me.
Well, some people just love to operate digitally. I got to tell you.
Well, but if I mean, obviously, I can't remember the last time I went to bank either to withdraw or pay money. Everything is done digitally. So is that not still digital money? So,
well, but it's digital money of a different kind. Yes, it's.
Where could it be used?
Well, I mean, it can be used in transactions that the central bank permits.
Exactly.
They were supposed to launch it this today, I think, but they've postponed it.
Yeah, so, well, like they postponed the Nigerian Airways or Air Nigeria. I mean, everything about Nigeria appears to be in
postponed.
Nigeria itself appears to be postponed as well in terms of development.
Yeah, anyway. It would have been so funny if it were not so tragic, because this is the lives of people that we are talking about.
Exactly. I mean,
and that's why I say we have nothing to celebrate at 61 years of
exactly. It sounds like a joke. We gone to Farnborough in the United Kingdom. We launched an airline on PowerPoint. It flew on PowerPoint, landed on PowerPoint, crashed on PowerPoint.
But you see, the kind of a worldview has 7 components. I don't want to go too deep into this. But it has the element of where are we coming from and where are we going. Who are we in the world, and what is our relationship with the world around us? This is the same reason why you will find the white man will see an object and become curious and want to conquer and to know more about that object. For example, going to the moon. Many black people will look at the moon and say, wow, it looks so mysterious, and they will form a religion around it and start worshiping it. So because it's mysterious. But the white man is curious. So that whole idea of where are we coming from, where are we going, how are we going to get there, what is the value system that underpins our worldview, what is the theory of action, or what we call today strategy, how do we realize these national ambitions? So that's the reason. And part of realizing these national ambitions is about organization. Just being able to organize is a problem for a lot of African countries. So they talk a lot, but the discipline of organization, everybody putting their shoulder to the wheel, is weak. So this is the problem. So people love to talk, they make PowerPoints and all this, but vested interests will always triumph over the national interest in Nigeria. And that's because the political leadership.
Now, let me move, the next question will be on the controversy and we woke up one day, we heard that Aboki FX, a mere website where people go to look up, what's obviously how is the currency trading,
Yeah.
when people want to send money or exchange money when they want to receive money.
Yes.
Now, that controversy, we saw the CBN governor come in, say that that is banned, that he doesn't think, or he should tell us where he goes to find how he benchmarks whatever price he publishes. And made people like me actually say, well, the real Aboki on the street that does not need a website to benchmark his own price of how much he sells the dollar that he has in his hands.
It's a
Now,
matter
looking
of supply.
Exactly. So looking at that, do you think, that was actually a good strategy to have made that noise and banned something, obviously, that needed not to be banned?
Well, I would only say that we should learn to stop chasing shadows and that we should focus on what our real problems are. I believe in the root cause approach to solving national problems. The root cause of the Naira's travails and Naira's problems come from the fact that Nigeria does not have a productive economy that exports value-added goods and earns forex, across a diversified base of products. We rely a lot on oil for over 90% of our foreign exchange. When the price of oil, sneezes, we catch pneumonia, or sometimes we catch COVID. So this is what is happening. So the foreign reserves, which underpin the value of the Naira, are constantly being buffeted by the demand and supply equations, of this oil revenue and dollars. We are an import economy, so everybody is looking for dollars to import, and the demand by far outstrips supply.
But there has been so many interventions by CBN as to
the interventions, I'm sorry to say, have not worked. I mean, I think that's obvious to everybody. So they haven't worked because the fundamental issues are not being addressed. The fundamental issues are outside the CBN. And so this habit of the government looking up to the CBN to do everything under the sun, it's wrong, because the CBN is overstretched, and the CBN has also, to some extent, not exercised its independence from the government. And so politicians have their views, like President Buhari. He issued a statement once saying that he's ordering the CBN, that he has directed the CBN. And I put out a statement. I said, President Buhari, stop directing the CBN. Any investor looking at that language will not come into your economy. Because what he knows immediately is that this is not a place where institutions are allowed to be independent. But do the people in political power understand these things? No, obviously. Or
it's akin to Boris Johnson directing the head of Bank of England.
The governor of the Bank of England. What a joke. It cannot happen.
It's just like this.
When President Trump tried to push Jay Powell around, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, and for him to take decisions that Trump wanted, they have to remind him that, the Federal Reserve is an independent institution. They don't take orders from the White House. And it has to be so for the economy to be very well managed. Otherwise, rational economic decisions will be thrown away and political decisions will replace them, and the problems will continue. That's what we have in Nigeria.
Okay.
The Nigerian economy is run in the service of vested interests, one. Two, the government itself is killing the Nigerian economy because it is too involved in it. It is too controlling. It wants to determine the price of everything. The market has a dynamic. And you've got to, create a dynamic that is efficient. That's what you should do. And the government should then oversee the market to make sure, for example, that the interests of the average people are protected and you don't have some smart, sharp Alec gaming the system. That's the purpose of regulation. Because there will always be sharp practice. Capitalism, is in tune with human nature. But like Winston Churchill said about democracy, it is the worst economic system except for all the rest.
Okay, so do you think there is anything Nigeria could do or the leadership could do to at least, I don't know, but do you think there is anything on this planet Earth that could be done to get...
The leadership is operating from a certain worldview. That worldview is a mental block to the leadership being able to do the things that will set the Nigerian economy on the right path. That's the problem. It's all about the mind. As a man thinketh, so is he. As a woman thinketh, so is she. So when you have a certain way of seeing the world or seeing power, when you believe that power has no constitutional checks, when you believe that no institution can be independent when you are the president, then you're setting the stage for a bad economy. Because you will continue to interfere thinking you're doing the right thing or in the service of whatever vested interest you think you're helping, but the masses will continue to suffer. So many crimes are committed in the name of the masses, in the name of the poor. The same thing with petroleum subsidy and all of these things. It's all nonsense. It's a massive fraud. President Buhari himself said that petroleum subsidy is a fraud. He came to power and continued with the fraud. So what are we talking about?
Well, enabler then. So obviously, what you're saying is, do you have a clear mapped out plan that if elected the president, do you have a timeline that Nigerians could see these things drastically reduced?
Well, the timeline for anybody elected president in Nigeria is 4 years. And, that's you're elected for a term of office of 4 years. So you assess me at the end of 4 years. But we will have a strategy such that by end of year 1, we will be at a certain point. By end of year 2, we'll be at a certain point. I don't want to get too specific because I'd rather under-promise and over-deliver than over-promise and under-deliver.
So you don't, obviously, you're not into the game of 100 days in office, 200 days in office. These are, obviously, these
you can do that. I mean, within 100 days, there are certain things I expect to have achieved as president of Nigeria. Within 100 days, the government is set up. We're not going to take 6 or 7 months to form a cabinet. My cabinet will be formed within 2 to 3 weeks of my being.
And when you relieve a minister, you would also replace that immediately, not waiting for 6 months to replace.
Of course, there will be performance management. I'm going to have 4 units in my office that will drive governance. The first is strategy. The second is risk management. The third is performance management. The fourth is talent management. This is how you govern. It's called strategic governance. And you govern like it's a corporation. And you're looking at targets and things you must achieve by a certain time. Because you have 4 years. So you want to make a certain impact before that 4 years is up.
So do you think if elected president that we might see dollar eventually come back at where it was in 2015 before the current government took over?
I will tell you that what I would do as president of Nigeria is to create an environment where the central bank, and I would, we would appoint competent and qualified people for these roles. The central bank will do its job professionally. As president, it's not for me to dictate the price of the naira to the dollar. That, managing that whole issue is the job of the central bank governor. So, but if you find the right kind of governor, and, when the term of the current person is up and you interview people, you will be asking certain questions. What is your philosophical view about managing the Nigerian economy, monetary policy, about forex policy, and all sorts of things? This is how you select people. You don't select people because they serve a particular vested or special interest. The economy will suffer.
So what's okay, quickly, let's speed it up. Quickly, what's your view on the VAT?
The VAT is what is happening is predictable. It is restructuring by fire by force. When the VAT was enacted and all of that, it was not meant to be going to the federal government. But the federal government in Nigeria, using the military complex, always acquires as much powers as it can. And today, the states are rebelling. Many states are saying these things belong to us under the Constitution. The Constitution made VAT a residual matter. It was never part of the exclusive list, and therefore it's a residual matter. So, therefore, the Governor Wike and some of the other governors of Lagos State, and others that are trying to, they're correct, basically, But all these things could have been sorted out if there had been a proper constitutional conference to create a new constitution for Nigeria that actually works and can help Nigerian states and different regions to grow and develop. But the federal government today resists that. Instead, they want to do a panel beating job and tell us that they have reviewed the Constitution. No.
So, so what are you saying now? If by 2023 you're elected president, are you going to, within which timeline, give Nigerians new constitution?
I believe that within 2 years of my election as president, we should have been able to. It's not the president who restructures the country; it's a legislative function. What the
But the
president can
president
do,
can drive it.
yeah, the president can influence it by showing that from the bully pulpit that he supports it, that it's part of his vision. And it is definitely part of my vision to have a proper federalism in Nigeria. Because the unitary system in reality that we're working with is failed. It has failed. It's not working. But if you give it a 2 year time frame of 24 months, my ambition as president is to leave office less powerful than when I entered, so that Nigeria can grow and Nigeria's people can achieve prosperity. For me, that is the end game. It's not about myself.
Okay, so recently, a former colleague of yours, in the person of Dr. May Lafia,
Yes.
died.
Yes.
And obviously, it's a man that we've met in a couple of forums. His death has been surrounded by, some, conspiracy theories flying around surrounding his death. And many said it's COVID, and many said it's obviously because he spoke out. What is your take?
My take is very straightforward. First of all, Dr. Obadiah Lafia's death is a big, big loss for our country. He was a brilliant man. He was philosophical. He understood political economy. He was also a courageous man. He stood up a lot for the Middle Belt region and felt that they were being treated badly by some of the ethnic nationalities, and he spoke out against that. But in terms of why he died, that is a matter that should be investigated by an autopsy. We shouldn't be too quick to judge. Everybody, we will all die, and so, I know what people say, the bird cried at night, the child died in the morning, and people have those kinds of mindsets. I'm not excluding any possibility, but I think it should be evidence-based. That's the point. I think they should go and do a proper autopsy of him. I've heard that he had COVID, and all of that, so it may have been a health thing, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know. It's the family that is in the best place to know that.
And recently, 2 days ago, I didn't know if you saw the video, we lost Dr. Chike Akunyalo, husband to late Dora Akunyalo. Now, yes. Obviously, and 3 days ago, to be precise, on Monday, or rather over the weekend, your hometown, Newi, saw 2 people being shot dead. Now, obviously, there is a heightened political activities happening in the state of Anambra. So far, in the last 1 week, over 12 people have died in a week, which is unprecedented. And because in Anambra, people normally say that Anambra engage in politics of Ebono, not in the politics of Eloaka. And if Anambra, that all of us knew and understood that they engage in the politics of Ebono, how come these ugly incidents are beginning to rear up its head in our state? And what's your take? And what can government do to stop them?
I condemn strongly and unequivocally any violence in any part of Nigeria, whether it's in Borno State or in Anambra State. We condemn political assassinations. We condemn terrorism. I condemn terrorism in all its forms. But I think that this is part of the challenge that the state of Nigeria is facing, the Nigerian state, where you have a lot of non-state actors now taking space because the Nigerian state is increasingly too weak to hold sway. And people are going to be forced to move more and more into self-defense because the state cannot protect them. And that's the first law of the state, or the first duty of the state under the Constitution of Nigeria 1999, that the Nigerian state should secure the security, maintain the security and welfare of the Nigerian citizen. So it's very disappointing. Too, I'd like to say that the Nigerian political leaders from the Southeast should take a big lesson. I think that they are mainly culpable for what is happening in the Southeast today, because many of them have not, the perception is that many of them are not there for the people. The way that the Southwest governors, even those who belong to APC, they came together and formed Amoteco to protect their people. But the Southeast, they promised us a Bubago. I haven't ever seen them. So this question of talking and not doing, this question of waffling and shuffling, and people always looking over their shoulder, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of?
But hold on, is a Bubago actually the well? People say that Amotekun is almost an important entity, but
Some
now
people say
Amotekun
psychological effect.
Well, Amotekun now
very strong.
The question then is if we look at it this way, isn't that the failure of the system where you have now a third party to come in to offer these services that the police, if we have state police,
it shows that
are we going to be having this conversation?
There is no question about it. It's part of state failure. But the fact of the matter is that people must protect themselves one way or the other. Nature abhors a vacuum. So the state is failing to protect its citizens, and people are looking for other solutions, from third parties and all of that. So I think the Igbo political elite has not lived up to their responsibility to their constituents. There's no question about that. And some other actors have stepped in and filled the vacuum. Nature abhors a vacuum. But what I would also say is that in trying to supposedly protect the interests of the Igbos, those other actors should also understand that they should not, now act against the interests of the Igbos. So this is what people have to understand. If you nail yourself to a cross and somebody is hammering a nail into it, and you say that you're making a point against President Buhari, I'm not sure how wise that is. You are the one bleeding, and you're the one who will die. Buhari will come for your funeral. So, assuming he shows up. So we need to rethink the way these things. People have a legitimate right to protest, but it should not be violent.
Now,
condoned.
I'll leave you with this last question because obviously I can see you must leave now.
Yes,
my last question is, now, if elected the president of Nigeria come 2023, within which time frame would you bring all agitators, all those who say they no longer want to be part of Nigeria, to speak to them? And if at all, will you speak to them, and under which time frame will you do that?
Now, when I become the president, we must first of all establish confidence of Nigerians in the Nigerian entity. And the way to do that is to begin from day one, to be seen to be fair. You see, this is what happens. It's the absence of fairness. It's the absence of equity and justice that is breeding these secessionist agitations. And even a former military head of state, Abdul Salami Abubakar, recently said so. And that has always been my position all along, that you cannot say Nigeria has to be a united, indivisible, and indissoluble country without addressing the root causes of the agitations. You have to. That's what leadership requires of you. But if you ignore it, and instead you're busy reading the law or what you think is the constitution to people, it's counterproductive. So, as president of Nigeria, I will establish confidence in Nigeria as an entity and as a state, treat people fairly, different groups, different personalities and ethnic nationalities. There will be no favoritism. And that's one of the ways you can reach out to people and say, stop what you're doing. It's against the interest of the country. And of course, if you don't, then the state must protect itself. But first there will be carrots before the stick.
Obviously, thank you very much, Professor Kingsley Morgan. That's a very fine place to leave it.
After watching this very interview, you can agree with me that Kingsley Morgan has everything that it takes. He has all the brain. But in Nigeria, he is as useless as empty vessel. In the country of Nigeria, nobody knows him. And nobody will give him that opportunity to do all these things you see him talking about. I don't know why it is so hard for him to know that. I don't know why. I don't know why it is so hard for him to know that. Even when it is obvious and written, you can see what is going on in what they're saying in that so-called 2023. You can see what they're saying and what they are planning. And yet, he is still hoping that he will be given a chance. Biafrans we have intelligent people. We have people who can turn things around within a shorter time. But these people cannot survive in the control of Nigeria. And any of them that ventured into this very Nigerian company to go and revive it will come back with disgrace. Even Kingsley Muhammad that is speaking, if they make him a president tomorrow, he is going to come back home with more disgrace. He will be worse than Buhari. They will make him be worse than Buhari. They will make sure that they frustrate him and he will become worse than Buhari. He doesn't realize that. He doesn't. Everything he has saying there, it sounds so good and so wonderful, and those are true. It's gonna work. But who is going to allow you to do, or who is going to appoint it? Of course, you cannot run a government alone. Of course, they will always come with the inclusiveness. And in that process, everything that you are working to make it right, they will make sure that they destroy it. That is why we are asking for a country where people have a common value. There is no common value in Nigeria. Kingsley Moore, hear this. They will not even allow you to be in that president as long as you are an Igbo man and you are a Christian. They will not allow you. They will not. They won't allow you. They won't allow you. You saw what happened to Jonathan, Goodluck Jonathan. Your own will be worse. You will be worse than Goodluck Jonathan. I don't know why it is so difficult for you to understand this. Our Supreme Damazin Nandekano knows it all. He has seen it all. And he has said it, that if you go and serve this Janjaweed, you will come back. If you don't come back dead, you come back disgraced. You see our people who have served them. Look at Dora Akunyeli. Dora who have served the NAFDAC to purify that country. Make sure it looks sensible. Yet, he served as a Minister of Information to make that country have sense and be presentable to the people. Yet, what happened today? They have killed her, and today they killed the husband. It is high time you begin to ask for a nation where there is common value. There is no common value in the contraption called Nigeria. The people in the north are pursuing a different agenda, where the southerners are pursuing a different agenda. And these very values will always clash. They will always clash, and it will always bring failure and death. That is the only thing you can get for it. Get that into your head. Get that straight into your head. And if you think you can do anything to change it, it is impossible. No man born of a woman can change it. Even Christ come back to this earth as we speak, he cannot change it. The only thing that can change the situation automatically is a breakup. When you break it up, you break the interest, everybody go their separate ways, then start to deal with their own demon. The demon will be so small for you to manage that we can stampede it to death. We will stampede corruption, and every evil person will stampede them to death. But when you are in this big entity called Nigeria, how are you? If you want to stampede him, you run to the north. Run to Abuja. Abuja will send help for him, will support him and protect him because he's paying their bill. He's doing what they want him to do. This is why we are asking for a breakup. Break it up to save life. Break it up to have a sensible nation. Break it up to have a good economy. Break it up to have security. Break it up to save your life and build a good economy. That is the only solution and nothing but that. We ask for referendum. Referendum. It's the only thing we ask, and there's nothing else you can offer us that we accept. Biafra or death.